Hey everybody, and welcome to this special on the Sun transiting in Capricorn that happens this year from the 14th of January 2025 at 4:26 AM until the 12th of February at 5:26 PM when the Sun moves into Aquarius. I'm Amani. I'm a Karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits and everything really, are based on Vedic astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the Sun and the Moon, are any given time in the sky. And all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening. And yeah, so first I'm just going to give an overview of the positive and negative meanings and the best use of the transiting Sun in Capricorn for about 5 minutes, and then after I'm going to go into the deeper mechanics of it, looking at the practical meanings, the karmic meanings, what it means to hook up, committed, and all other relationships, and just what it can mean for our career and other developments. So yeah, so when the Sun transits through Capricorn, it's sort of like a cosmic career kind of push, a catalyst, you know. It gives us that solid cardinal energy, so it's an earth energy, right? It's cardinal in opposed to Taurus being fixed, so Taurus energy can be hard to make changes through, but Capricorn energy is giving us the chance to, you know, not only start new things, but also ground our plans in reality, and also be prepared to keep focus and do the hard work and build the discipline and emotional resilience to, you know, meet the requirements of our goals. So in terms of what the Sun transiting in Capricorn brings to us, it sort of activates our ambition. You know, we can sort of like want to act like CEO, or we can sort of like want to act like in a way where we just empower ourselves, you know. So our inner CEO, our inner boss babe, you know, can get a massive upgrade. Discipline right now and planning, yeah, becomes our secret weapons. Long-term dreams can take, you know, sort of like solid form by our practical actions, and it's sort of like where our practical magic, which is, you know, taking the daily steps to meet our goals by doing the things we need to, you know, tick that goal off our list, you know. So if you've got a goal of eating healthier every day, you have to eat healthy food, right? So, you know, if you've got a goal to get to a desired weight or build or aesthetic, you know, you have to take the steps to get there. So basically, practical magic meets strategic brilliance when the Sun's transiting in Capricorn, and we can transform our hustle into meaningful progress and balance our motivation drive and our need to succeed and tick boxes and meet goals, right, with soul nurturing breaks. Because, you know, Capricorn energy, yes, it's good. We're at the start of the year, you know, we can make those New Year goals, but we have to avoid burnout, doing too much, right? You know, we decide on our New Year goals, we go hard at it for 7 days, and then for the rest of the year, nothing. It's much better to make slow and steady progress than to just do something for, like, you know, short time and, you know, not see the results. So turn your challenges as well as your goals into small stepping stones, and when obstacles come, know that they are often many like failures before we reach our success, you know. So don't beat yourself up for that, even though it can be hard, and the key is to keep on getting up after each failure, after each fall, and there will be many. But as I said, we have to watch out for our inner critic, our perfectionism, our need to do too much or to be perfect, and this can become a creativity killer, you know. This can stop us from those slow daily habits that we need to reach our goals, you know. We have to watch out for becoming workaholics, and although isolating ourselves from our emotions and our relationships right now may feel tempting, because the inner critic really wants to crash our feelings party right now, lock down our emotions. But this can be detrimental, hurtful, not only to, the people that, you shut out, right, but also to your own emotional stability and meeting your needs for care and touch right now as well. So if you need time out, even if you are in a committed, intimate relationship, let your partner know rather than shutting them out. And yeah, they may not like to hear what you have to say, but it's better to say than not to. So yeah, the best use of this energy is to set boundaries like a boss, celebrate small victories, even if it's just giving yourself a hug, having a nice shower or bath, buy yourself your favourite chocolate bar or sweets or apple or fruit or whatever, make sure you celebrate the small wins, and this is how you can welcome the big wins and be grateful for the small things while you await the big things, right? Which is a master key to inner happiness as we get older. And this is why a lot of celebrities have all the money, but they don't have this inner peace, because we have to kind of build this self-love, honest self-love and self-care, right, where we're honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses, our shadow and our good points, and we sort of like nurture everything within us. And with our weakness and our darkness, we find healthy ways to channel that energy rather than letting it become destructive by our own toxic thought patterns and behaviour patterns and ways of relating to ourselves and others. We also have to make sure that we rest, get enough sleep, drink enough water, eat some good food for us, take some exercise, maybe do some meditation, some Tai Chi yoga. And we have to remember that our worth isn't calculated by our status, our money, our house, our car, but by us loving on ourselves, holding space for ourselves, right? So in terms of reality checks, the Sun in Capricorn reminds us that success is not a straight journey. Burnout, working too hard, ignoring your emotional and spiritual needs for your financial and physical needs is not a badge of honour. It's a big badge of self-respect really in the long run, because you may get all the money and all the status, but if you neglect your emotional needs and psychological needs, then you're shutting yourself off from your long-term happiness, right? So in the short term, money, social media likes can give us gratification and happiness, but in the long term, this is why we can become addicted to the cycle, because we need more and more likes, more and more, sort of like money and external symbols of success. But when we sort of like build that inner foundation by coming to know ourselves and recognizing that our vulnerabilities and our flaws can strengthen us and not weaken us, this can be a great turning point. So yeah, the Sun in Capricorn wants us to remember that working with others, the right people, can be more beneficial than going solo, but for some of you have to go solo, as Jason Derulo sings, so yeah. See what I've done there? But yeah, anyway, I can be kind of like that sometimes, but yeah. So the practical magic moves of using the Sun in Capricorn wants us to create a flexible goal tracking system. Now this I started it last year, but this year I'm going to continue with my daily planner and just ticking off those goals, because it really does motivate you when you look on your day-to-day list. And even if it's just like, have a cup of coffee, make the bed, write it all down and tick, 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 it does a lot for your self-belief, and self-esteem. Also, make sure you schedule rest, chill out time. Allow yourself to reach out to other people and connect with those human beings that support and nurture you, and practice radical self-love, awareness and forgiveness right now as well. And some questions that you may want to ask yourself as we go through the Sun's transit in Capricorn are you working hard or working smart? Now working hard can be doing too much. That's another thing that I'm, big on reducing. This is why I've changed the format of even the way I'm working here, because I realise some people just want it short and others want it longer, so I do the short first. So asking yourself, how can you turn pressure into progress? So really looking at, your anxieties and looking at ways that maybe if you've got financial restraints and stuff like that, how you can improve your life, how you can improve the things that are causing you distress. And it can be hard, to keep on going when we battling psychological and emotional and spiritual distress, but it can be done if you're willing to take the small daily steps and break your big goals into small goals. So you can ask yourself, what does long-term and sustainable success look for you? Because the way we're kind of geared up as a society is for short-term success. We go to college, university, we get that job right, we work for 20 years, get married, get the mortgage, finish paying the mortgage, get the car and everything, have the children, and then a lot of the time people get to like 50 and they're like, where did my life go? Because a lot of the time we just do the things that we're programmed to do rather than thinking, what career can I do to make it seem like I'm not working, to make every day fun. And I know sometimes we can make the wrong decisions and life, pushes us into situations where we can't have that choice of the careers. At times we have to, we start at the bottom, like Drake says, starting from the bottom, then we're here. So we have to clean those toilets, scrub those floors, and wash those pots, But even that should be part of a plan for you to gain more skills as you progress. And even if, you've lost many a fortune, or you feel that I'm too old right now, this new year, this energy is supporting you to go through it. So the sun in Capricorn, in essence, reminds us to climb, to reach for that success, to keep on going, to breathe, to chill, to relax, to take time out for ourselves, to evolve, to keep on changing, to get back up after each fall, to be who we want to be. And through the energy of the sun in Capricorn, the universe whispers to us that our potential has no limits, regardless of our past mistakes and setbacks. But, our energy, our time, our personal energy, we need to sleep, we need to meet our commitments of work and our relationships and children if you have them, and any other sort of responsibilities that we have. So we have to, because our energy is limited in terms of our time, right, we have to choose what we do with our time and our resources wisely. So that's the short version of what to do when the sun's transiting in Capricorn. Now I'm going to, dig deeper into the practical meanings, the financial, political, social, collective meanings of the sun's transit in Capricorn. So, as I said, when the sun's in Capricorn, it's our cue to step up, to stand in building more structure, routine, discipline, and long-term sort of goals into our life. It gives us the foundation for bringing more order and clarity into our life. And it's an invitation to tap into Capricorn's practical and earthy energies, and there can be like an increase in our determination and resilience, and we can just feel inspired to overcome our challenges and adversity and be more methodical, logical in our mindset and execution. So as I said, it's a perfect time to set realistic goals and take steady steps towards achieving them, and we can just feel more motivated and just have a more of a sharper ability to plan and execute our tasks effectively, great energy for planning, because it gives us the energy to think more clearly. But negatively, as I said, because we can be too serious right now, too inflexible, this can lead to us resisting new and creative solutions to our problems, and we may just choose to stick to routine tradition even though it's making us unhappy, or we're just scared of getting outside of our comfort zones. We can also become too focused on our work and achievement and neglect our personal relationships and our self-care, and the emphasis on practicality and responsibility can just lead us to stress and burnout, So we can kind of just be narcs right now, nitpicking people's mistakes and being critical of others and ourselves as well. If the road to our success, to us meeting our goals, don't come as we thought they were, and remember the road to success is paved with obstacles and U-turns. So this is not, and I know it can be hard, right, but us facing challenges, and this is note to myself as well as you, it's not the universe telling us to not do it, it's the universe, Saturn. This is Saturn's role. Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, right? It's to get us to think, to make not only a plan A but a plan B and sometimes a plan C, without being too overly paranoid and fixed on it, but knowing that we need more than one plan to reach our goals. So yeah, we have to have self-compassion and make sure we remember that while planning and discipline are important, we have to be flexible, be open to change, getting outside of our comfort zone, and loving ourselves, looking after our emotional, psychological and spiritual needs over our lifetime can help us find and maintain, stabilize a healthy and sustainable path forward in our life, So to navigate this energy, we have to sort of like balance Capricorn's drive for success with awareness of our own needs and limitations, because limitations doesn't mean you can never do something, but you may say you want to do a course right now and you don't have the money for it, so look at alternatives. Can you research, go online and find PDF books, free books, right? Go on, YouTube and watch videos. Make your own research in the meantime while you save financially to do a professional course that can give you the qualifications you need. There's always things you can be doing, especially now we've got the internet, right? In the past 20, 30 years ago, not so much, but now there's always solutions to our problems. We just have to be open to them. So we just need to sort of like make sure, that we question ourselves to make sure we're not losing sight of the bigger picture, which is, making sure that you're happy as you journey through life and not just focus on the destination, engaging in, activities and hobbies and experiences that recharge your spirit and your mind and your body, reminding yourself that while hard work is important, nurturing relationships and taking care of yourself are equally important as well. And, make sure that you make time for those you care about and explain to them if you need time out. And, so yeah, by using the sun in Capricorn's energy wisely, you can create a fulfilling path that can help you reach your life goals and your short-term ones and your long-term goals as well, while maintaining a healthy balance in your life by looking after all your needs, and make sure that you going after your goals don't overshadow your personal well-being and the needs of your emotions and your psychological and spiritual needs as well. In terms of the financial meanings of the sun transiting in Capricorn, it's sort of like a cosmic cash flow activation. So right now, if we really want to, we can become like a magician, a wizard, an alchemist, transforming our dreams into tangible wealth by taking the daily actions to make money, manifest into our life more quickly. And this is not, I don't mean like a month or two, it's not a get rich quick kind of mythology I'm giving you. It's lifetime, maybe looking at your money and thinking if you can save £1 or $1. Do you save money already? Looking at areas you cut back, looking at your income to see where you can bring in more income as well. Our inner financial strategists can level up under this energy, and budgeting can become our secret power right now. And our long-term wealth planning dreams can take shape if we're willing to look realistically at what we can do to transform our lives around by saving more or being more cautious with our finances. And practical magic meets money mastery when the sun's in Capricorn. We can transform our hustle into sustainable wealth, create hustle ideas, side hustles, full hustle ideas and systems and routines that help us to multiply our resources, looking at where you waste your time and energy. Do you waste your time and energy in excessive hookup, too much Netflix and chilling, too much overthinking, too much overworking, and doing the wrong type of work, because this is about working smart, right? And turning our financial challenges into growth opportunities and balancing our strategic planning to gain more financial flow, But on the negative end, the scarcity mindset can just make us sort of like not give ourselves the daily treats that we need to reach our goals. We can become obsessive about saving right now, and this can block our wealth energy. So yes, save, we need to do that, especially if you're not doing it, but also allow yourself the chance to treat yourself and buy yourself that chocolate bar or that gift that's going to keep you going and make you feel like, yeah, I'm working these hours not only just to pay the bills, but to make it so I can have these nice gifts. And I maybe neglecting myself sometimes of buying myself the supermarket brand instead of the brand stuff with everything close to even a car, even, because you're thinking about your long-term financial goals and not the short-term goals. We all see people flex and go, but the long-term hustle flex is the best. And yeah, it may take you longer to get what you want materially, but it's the surefire way to ensure your lifelong happiness. So yeah. Also, fear can paralyze our financial creativity, and anxiety about money can create blockages within us. And we just have to remember that money is an energy and it's not just about numbers. And celebrate our financial wins and invest in experiences, not just our accounts as well, but also make sure we've got something in our accounts, or under our pillow or bed or floorboards for some of you, So yeah, remember, your wealth is not at all measured by your bank balance. It shouldn't be. Worth is not about that. Worth should come from within, from inside of you. So regardless of lovers coming and going, money coming and going, you always have that inner worth that can drive you to get back up after each fall and bring more abundance and find that next lover that's going to make you happy again, rather than spend years lamenting and regretting your ex or exes and stuff. So financially, it wants us to realise that financial freedom requires us to do inner and sadder work. Worth is more than just pounds and dollars. Abundance flows when we're aligned with ourselves, at peace with ourselves, regardless of what other people say about us. It wants us to, design a flexible financial growth plan, schedule our money mindset, and money mindset healing sessions as well, where you sit down and think about what your parents told you about money, what your friends, lovers, people told you about money, what you've come to believe about money, and work through strategies that can help you change your relationship with money. And these money mindset healing sessions can really empower you to connect with your abundance, within, and connect with other people that have an abundance mindset, not a toxic one, which like, just get as much money as we need, but people that recognize that, sometimes we can block not only relationships and wealth in our life because of our thoughts about things, so we have to sort of like practice radical financial self-love right now. And some questions we can ask to keep us on track are: what stories are we telling ourselves about money? What stories do we believe about our ability to make money or keep money? How can we use our wealth to serve our soul's purpose rather than just to buy those shoes, those dresses, those suits, those watches, rings, jewelries, cars, houses, social media likes even, and ask yourself, are you allowing yourself to manage your money, or are you allowing money and possessions to manage and rule you? So astrologically, the sun's transit in Capricorn reminds us that wealth is an inside job, and it's asking us if we are ready to rewrite our money story and align grow and prosper with our highest good. So in terms of the political meanings of the sun in Capricorn, when it transits here, politicians and government systems can get a strategic upgrade. So policies leaders propose may become more strategic and moves become strategic, especially in alliances between nations. Accountability can become the new sexy, and sort of like institutional integrity can sort of like, be the focus, and pragmatic and rational leadership kind of takes the spotlight. So, bureaucratic, slow, sluggish procedures, sometimes you have to give forms to government departments and it can take ages for them to process them, but there may be a focus on cutting out that sort of red tape, systems that actually serve people can be created. The need to balance traditional sort of views with innovative thinking comes to the forefront as well. And, political challenges, leaders will be looking at turning adversities, maybe arguments between nations and stuff like that, into collective growth opportunities. Well, that's the best use of this energy, but we know we don't live in like an astrological world per se, meaning a world where everybody follows what's best for humanity, right? So the political landmines, the challenges, the negatives of the sun transiting in Capricorn is, people can get power hungry, rigid and inflexible thinking can suffocate social progress, resistance to change is like a default, and power dynamics can get super complicated because one leader's like, my policy the best, and the other's like, mine's the best as always, and slinging dirt at each other rather than solving the problems of the communities. So if you are a leader or you're going to take leadership for your life, or you already are, the best use of this energy is to be flexible, listen more than you speak. Remember that diversity drives real innovation, listening to different opinions, especially opinions that go against your own, can really, be galvanization to grow, even if it's just growing to be more emotional, resilient, and, being transparent, telling the truth is better than, trying to control, and, to get real of the fact that although we may want to stay in our comfort zones, especially in our political viewpoints, change is the only constant in life. The seasons show us that. The sun's transiting in Capricorn now. Next month it's transiting in Aquarius, and so on and so on. So we can remember that power without compassion always breeds resistance. This is why, we're always fighting and stuff, because we can't just be telling each other, you have to live this way. We have to try and find a middle ground, making spaces for everybody to feel seen and heard, and we have to remember that collective wisdom, working together, beats individual ego, and true leadership serves, not dominates. So practically it creates a space for genuine conversations, especially those of people that are marginalized, right? And it wants us to adapt our political frameworks and what we think about politics as individuals, and have some empathy for the institutional red tape. I know it's annoys at times, it's annoying, but a lot of the time I think the systems that govern us represent us as a people, because I truly believe if we all stuck together and collectively, and work for change, we will get it. So politically, this energy wants us to think about, are we managing society or truly evolving it, And a lot of the time you can see, because we're turning back into a kind of lack of freedom of speech. It's kind of like you have to think like everyone says you have to think, and if you go against the mainstream, then, it's all wrong, So is society really evolving? Yeah, we've got social media, yeah, we are kind of allowed to talk and stuff, but we are seeing now that a lot of the time people are getting cancelled and stuff. Is this really right? And yes, of course we have to have that line where people can't break laws and shouldn't harm others, but also I'm also of the belief, as we get into adulthood, we also have to become more resilient to other people's opinions and not let them move us so much, by healing our inner child and its wounds. We can, become adults that are less bothered by what other people think, and then we can, use all that emotional energy we waste there on building a better community. So asking ourselves how the way we lead, or how we want our leaders to lead, can become more human-centered, more empathetic, Also looking at what outdated systems are begging for transformation right now. So politically, it wants us to mix having compassion, heart, with strategy, using the logic, and to use politics and leadership to serve, transform, and liberate others, rather than control and imprison them, or enable them to continue to imprison themselves, because that's a thing as well. So in terms of the social collective meanings, the Sun in Capricorn allows us to pay attention to the frameworks, the conformity, the social sort of like cues, norms that hold our society together, and we can sort of like have a growing desirability for accountability in our sort of like social spaces right now and relationship. People can just want more down to earth, practical solutions to challenges, and it can sort of like be like everyone's on a mission to tidy up the cosmic living room of this world we live in, and their own individual living rooms and spaces and bedrooms and stuff, office areas. It's the key themes are restructuring and planning, right? Collectively, we can just feel more of an urge to secure our features, becoming more serious and goal-orientated. This can increase competition and cattiness and rattiness. Everybody may want to be the main character, and this can sort of like cause unnecessary conflicts. We just need to watch out for that. But it's a time when traditional values and established systems and routines can gain a new appreciation. In terms of, in the business world, productivity can kind of increase, and so, we can notice social media buzzing more with content, focusing on professional growth and personal growth and career strategies. But remember, the Sun in Capricorn is the 10th house, so the focus is mainly on our public image, right? Our careers and stuff, our deeper values, taking accountability and responsibility. We can talk more about our personal achievements, and we can just sort of like strive more to overcome our obstacles, but emotionally we can prioritize practical emotional investments. We can be a bit more reserved, as I said, and there can be a lot less room for spontaneous outbursts, especially of affection, right? And it can kind of be like we're all putting on our serious hats and just focusing on what truly matters. Also, when the Sun's in Capricorn, we may just have a bit more of a collective sort of like need and respect for older generations' ways of living and guidance and stuff, and we can just kind of give those who have experience or are older gain more credibility, and we can just see an increase in mentorship and sharing knowledge across different age groups, and we can just have respect for experience and age and wisdom, and reminding us that there's value and lessons to be learned over time. So we can just be less focused on the quick fix that social media can give us by scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. We want the longer version under this energy, not just the 10-second breakdown. So practically, it wants us to strategically plan, using this time to write out our goals, both personal, professional, and asking ourselves what we want to achieve over the next couple of months and the year in general. It wants us to invest in ourselves, get that new skill, research that hobby, start that side hustle. It's about investment in yourself and allowing yourself to grow. And in terms of long-term strategies, it wants us to create plans that can stand the test of time. So ultimately, on the social collective level, it wants us to embrace discipline, be more mature, be more purposeful in our action, and roll up our sleeves and get to work. And just remember, there's a whole world, for your highest potential and self-love and care for you to sort of like achieve, you know. So now I'm going to talk more about the psychological, the deeper spiritual, esoteric, hidden meanings, the symbolic and creative meanings of the Sun's transit in Capricorn. So in terms of the psychological level, it can make our minds more like a powerful strategic center, allowing ourselves to recalibrate our thoughts and daily actions and routines so that we can gain epic personal growth, you know. So our psychological power moves right now gives us the ability to use more focus and discipline and hard work to, you know, bring more self-love into our lives by doing the things that actually make us happy. And we think that happiness comes from a lack of discipline, but actually by learning to control ourselves, you know, not repressing our fun but not overindulging in it as well, we can find, you know, the stilling of our inner critic that tells us we're not good enough. Our achievements right now can meet deep personal meaning as we, you know, get real about what it takes to make ourselves emotional, spiritually and psychological stable and intelligent, you know. And we can just, as I said, be more compassionate, transform our inner pressure into creative full, you know, motivation, balance our ambition with radical self-acceptance, and, you know, just create things, mental systems that nurture our soul and turn our psychological challenges into growth opportunities. But we just have to watch out, because for every plus there's a negative, right? Our inner perfectionism can hijack our happiness. Self-judgment can throw mental tantrums as we think about, you know, the opportunities we missed, the mistakes, the things others have done to us that we can't forgive, or what we can't forgive ourselves for, and all of that, and our rigid thinking of, you know, it's too late, people like me can't do this or that, I can't upgrade my skill, you know, I don't have enough time. All of that thinking can block your creative breakthroughs, and, you know, other people's expectations and societal norms and conformity can dim your self-expression, you know, your unique light right now. So this is why it's important to get real, not being afraid of calling yourself out on your own bullcrap, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. So yes, when other people point out your flaws, you already know them and it doesn't hurt you as much, and you don't take criticism, inner or outer, as a thing, as, you know, to be hurt by, but as an external feedback tool, even if it just means quietly going away and giving yourself a reality check and thinking, am I like this? You know, what do I need to change? So, you know, we can use this energy to see that, you know, personal healing, especially of our psychological wounds, is an imperfect journey. And we should celebrate every tiny mental breakthrough, every little thing, every little habit we change, even if it's a small thing, even if it's taking 10 seconds daily to meditate, you know, and remember that flexibility right now is your superpower, and that, you know, vulnerability is mental strength, and having self-compassion is better than, you know, criticism, and being able to be real with yourself and follow your unique path matters more than other people's expectations and conforming. So, you know, this energy wants us to sort of like ask ourselves, what stories are we telling ourselves? How can our challenges become our greatest teachers? And, you know, how can we live our truth more rather than, you know, keep living to other people's expectations? You know, schedule mental health check-ins and spiritual and emotional health check-ins as well. Have self-compassion, as I said. You know, research Tara Brach, who's done a lot of great work on, you know, and radical self-acceptance and stuff like that, and accepting the self as we grow ourselves, as we develop ourselves over our lifespan, you know. So yeah, the Sun in Capricorn reminds us that our mind is a wild, beautiful universe, and that we should explore it with curiosity and kindness. And it's asking us if we're ready to rewrite our internal narrative that tells us we're not good enough, and it wants us to mix ambition with self-love and strategy with emotional wisdom, and watch our inner magic unfold as we learn to love and understand the needs of our inner child and higher self. And remember, you may not be perfect, and you're not here to be perfect, but you are here to be authentically and brilliantly you, so you should do that. So now I'm going to talk about the spiritual meanings of the sun's transit in Capricorn. So, spiritually it wants us to go within and to start the work or continue the work of building inner resilience. It empowers us to connect with our inner authority and pushes us to reassess what truly, sets our heart on fire and our core values and our life purpose. It's an ideal energy to ground our spiritual practices with the same diligence that the Capricorn energy brings to earthly sort of like matters and information. But negatively, it can make us feel detached and isolated as, we push ourselves for more self-reliance, can cause us to withdraw from our relationships and shared spiritual experiences, which can be good for some of you. The end goal of the spiritual journey is to not be dependent on external spiritual teachers, but to use their wisdom to develop your own sort of path of individuality. And this is why shadow and inner work is so important on the spiritual path, because it counteracts the ego that can come with gaining spiritual or any other knowledge. It's always best to be your own best friend, and doing that is being able to let yourself know when your poo stinks a little. So it wants us to prioritize our wellness here. But sometimes we can prioritize rationality over intuition, so it can be hard under this energy to trust our spiritual instincts. But to be intuitive, we need to kind of like how can I put it, be logical too, because we have to be discerning between what is spiritual truth and what's not, because a lot of the time in the path, as people become teachers, they don't check their egos, and they will say things and people follow them and feel misguided. So it wants us to sort of like open up to being humble in our humility, and reduce the need to control and to sort of like isolate ourselves as well, but also to be honest about our need for space if we need it, allowing ourselves to be receptive to unexpected spiritual insights and experiences, and wants us to look at how we can integrate our goals, our material goals of getting more money, and getting that car, getting those shoes, that jewelry, with our spiritual growth, and asking us, are there practices that we need to do more of or need to build into our life that can help us stay connected to our community while also going after our goals. It wants us to ask, are we sort of like nurturing our inner selves as diligently as we go after our external achievements? As I said, a lot of the time we neglect one area for the other, but we need to find harmony between meeting our spiritual needs and meeting the needs of the material, paying that rent, having nice holidays or experiences that you enjoy. We all want different things from life. So it wants us to think about how we can cultivate, develop a supportive environment with other people or within ourselves or within a community for some of you, ensuring that your drive, motivation for success doesn't overshadow your spiritual well-being, and use this energy to deepen your connection to both your inner self and the world around you, and this can allow you to feel more alive and more at peace. So in terms of the esoteric hidden meanings of the sun transiting in Capricorn, it gives us the energy for transformation and regeneration, letting go of the past, of the previous year, and allowing ourselves to uncover abilities and tap into our inner resources that we didn't even know existed. It encourages us to change, refine our talents and be more dedicated. It's an ideal time for personal personal growth and spiritual enlightenment. And as we sort of like move through this energy with more openness and curiosity, we can discover truths about ourselves that resonate deeply with us, and this can increase our self-awareness and spiritual journey. So ultimately, this is a time to polish the gems within us, allowing ourselves to shine authentically and brightly. But we just have to watch out that, esoterically, this energy brings shadows. And as I said, the pressure to conform to other people's needs and requirements right now completely can cause a sense of heaviness or rigidity, inflexibility, or the need for you to stay in your comfort zone can do this as well. A lot of the time, or most of the times, I say we are our own worst enemies, because we stay in our comfort zones, and put up defense mechanisms, and this can not only keep us away from red flags and things that harm us, but it can also keep us away from the things that can improve and nurture and love us, and make us happy as well. So, we have to sort of like release ourselves of expectations of ourselves and others of our past, and let go of the inner blockages and resistance this creates. We can have an overemphasis on control and perfectionism, as I said, and this can get in the way of our true self-expression by being more mindful and recognizing when we're slipping into the criticism of self and others, or the fear of failure, coming up with strategies, a plan to get ourselves out of that time. For some of you, it's relaxing meditation music. For some of you, it's, doing the thing. Sometimes we just have to throw ourselves in at the deep end and not overthink. As an overthinker myself, yes, we take time out to think, but also balance that with doing as well. So it wants us to sort of like balance Capricorn's disciplined nature with a gentle self-acceptance of our imperfections, and allow ourselves to be human and to love on ourselves even with our flaws, And by doing this can create a more harmonious alignment between our inner and outer worlds. And in terms of how we can integrate these esoteric needs into our daily life, we can think about areas where we can set realistic goals without overwhelming ourselves, engage in practices that nurture both our overall psychological, emotional, spiritual and physical well-being, and our goals and our finances, and it wants us to create a structured plan for our goals, as I said, and take time out, put in that plan time to sort of like love on yourself, indulge in healthy self-care and build connections with others, rather than completely using all your free time just to work on yourself, which is needed, but letting the right people in. Yes, get rid of the people that drain your energy and distractions, of course, but don't sort out the right people, and use this energy to shine your light while also staying true to yourself, which is the most important thing. A lot of the time, the self-hate and the hate of others comes from us not being ourselves, and we can hate others because they can represent the things stopping us from moving forward. But as I said, yes, there may be external things stopping us, but there's a lot of internal things that if we sort of like manage, can sort of like push us forward into our goals as well. So in terms of the symbolic creative meanings, it wants us to transform our visions into reality through perseverance, getting back up after each fall, and strategic planning. And it's about using Capricorn's grounded, earthly, disciplined, focused energy to turn abstract ideas into structured, achievable goals, and increase a sense of responsibility and ambition. And we can sort of like create new habits to build solid foundations, so we can follow through on our creative plans as well. So we can think of it as a time to channel our creativity into practical projects that are not only imaginative but also create an impact on us, and we can use this disciplined energy to become more determined and gain more clarity about what we want by questioning ourselves, reflecting on our lives, asking questions on how we can overcome our obstacles and learn to love ourselves as well. But negatively, in terms of our creative expression, it can just, again, perfectionism can get in the way of our artistic creative flow and us finding creative solutions to our problems as well. And because Capricorn's energy can sometimes be kind of like too focused on discipline, so we have to balance it out, it can overshadow us being spontaneous and creative, and we can just feel restricted, and this can lead to creative blocks where we feel our imagination is kind of blocked by our self-imposed limitations or societal pressures or not having enough time or any excuse. You can make excuses not to use our creative energy. So to make the most of this energy, we have to balance commitment with being flexible. Ask ourselves, are we creating space, whether it be 5 minutes, one day, half a day, to allow our creative energies to flow freely without being overshadowed by rigid planning, the fear of failure, and think about setting time aside for exploration and play in your creative process as well, and just think about how you can be more spontaneous and structured in your plans, using intuition and logic, having fun and being serious as well, and reflect on your creative goals, or if you haven't got any, make some, asking yourself if they truly resonate with who you are, and ask yourself, are you pursuing your creative goals out of passion, or are you feeling pressured to meet external expectations? A lot of the time, if you're thinking about creating a podcast, or you're creative, and that it can be hard to find that balance between doing what you love and meeting other people's vision of what you should be doing when you're doing what you're doing when you are doing what you love, So I hope you understood that, guys. So by sort of like finding our balance, we can prevent Capricorn's disciplined nature from muting our creative voice and allow for creativity to grow alongside our ambitions and meeting the needs of paying the rent and the bills, and spending time with our friends and all the other endless responsibilities we have, and remember that creativity is not just about the end result but also about the journey, and we can just ask ourselves how we can let our creativity kind of guide us, to make sure that our creative spirit remains vibrant while we work towards our practical material wealth creation goals and stuff. So now I'm just going to take a deeper look at the emotional meanings of the Sun in Capricorn. So it wants us and supports us to face our feelings in a calm, steady way and be practical about it, and build on our maturity, accountability and resilience. It allows for us to start or continue to build self-discipline into our life that helps us manage our emotional responses more effectively as we develop our steadier, more calmer mindset, right? It wants us to build more emotional wisdom into our life and prioritize our long-term well-being over fleeting feelings, so we can create a sense of inner stability, but negatively, again, it can add to emotional detachment, feelings of isolation. We can find it hard to work with our emotions right now, and we can just feel numb and heaviness, and just feel scared, and the focus on responsibility can get in the way of our emotional needs as well, because this energy does want us to focus on our goals and the practicalities of our development. Even if we choose to work on our spiritual development, it still wants us to do it from a practical Saturn way, looking at plans A's and B's while also having fun. So it's a lot to balance, right? So we have to balance our expressing our feelings while staying practical, making time for self-care and reflection as well as hard work, and doing the things that uplift our spirit, journaling, meditating, spending time in nature, allowing ourselves to feel and process our emotions without judgment. So we can ask ourselves how we can honour our emotional needs while fulfilling our responsibilities, and by allowing space for both our emotional expression and practical focus, remembering that it's okay to seek support when we need to as well can help us create a deeper connection with ourselves and those around us, emerging that we sort of like use the sun's transit in Capricorn to make us feel grounded and more emotionally fulfilled. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the aspects to sun mates when it goes into Capricorn this year and how they affect the sun in Capricorn, right? So the sun makes a semi-square to Venus, and this is applying, so it allows us to be creative in our relationships, so it makes us less emotionally cold, so that's good. It allows us to express affection, be creative, and increase our social life if we want to. But negatively, it can add to the emotional coldness, bringing tensions into our relationships, creating more misunderstandings and feelings of us not being good enough, and we can sort of like, this adds to us being self-critical, but specifically on appearances and not wanting to try new things and focusing on our inner values too much in a way that's detrimental to creating peace in situations. This energy positively helps us and supports us to be creative and appreciate the beauty within and around us, and we just need to watch out for not taking things too personally and being a bit detached as well. Like, we have to find a middle ground between, yes, not isolating ourselves but detaching ourselves from our own negativity and others at this time, is what I'm trying to say. The Sun also makes an opposition to Mars, and this is applying within a 3-degree orb, so pretty tight, right? And it allows us and supports us in trying new things, giving us that extra motivation to engage in physical activities, exercise, going to the gym, being more assertive in our communication. And if you feel really amped up because of this energy, it's best to use it to exercise, focus on things that are going to make you happy, right? But negatively, it can add to the aggressive behaviour and conflicts as well. The Sun also makes a sextile square to Jupiter. This is 2.5 degrees applying, so it's affecting us for the whole month. The Sun's in Capricorn, as is all these aspects of the T-square I'm going to talk about in a while. So it allows us to expand, try new things, but overconfidence and us exaggerating the truth can get in the way, and we can take on too much work, leading to burnout, which we need to avoid. And we can just make promises we can't keep because we think at the time when we're saying we can do a thing, we can, but we can't. So we just have to remember to stay grounded and realistic about our goals and focus on 1 or 2 projects rather than spreading ourselves too thin and focusing on 10, and celebrate small achievements to maintain motivation without overthinking and doing too much as well. So also, the Sun makes a trine to Uranus, and this allows for innovative thinking and change, and it can make us feel more inspired and helps us to break free from routine. But negatively, it can add to the restlessness, especially if we resist change and stay in our comfort zone, and we can just feel like we want to rebel for no reason as well. This can cause problems, so make sure you're channeling this energy productively and just use it to try something different and stay open to unexpected opportunities. Also, the Sun makes a sextile to Neptune. This allows us to increase our creativity, use our intuition, and it's great for us to meditate and use in spiritual practices and allowing ourselves to connect with our deeper self and uncovering our repressions and secrets and nurturing ourselves as well. Then sort of like just be more at peace, but we just have to watch out for confusion and us ignoring red flags, being deceptive to others and deceptive to ourselves, lying, because we're wanting to escape from the truth of the reality of life in this transit, which is we need to work daily to reach our goals, and we need to have some kind of plan to manifest them, right? So yeah, this energy allows us to balance the practicalities and the imagination as well, but we just need to watch that we just don't get lost in daydreams and overindulge in intoxicating substances or relationships or distractions right now. The Sun also makes a conjunction to Pluto, and this allows us to become more empowered and confront our issues and make changes in our life, but negatively it can add to intense emotions and the power struggles I talk about, and we can just become control freaks with ourselves and others, which is not good. But we need to watch out for that and chill out and respect other people's boundaries as well as assert our own. So the best use of this energy is to use it for self-reflection, focus on your personal growth and understanding, explore your motivations and true desires and needs, and just watch out for trying to dominate others and watch out for others trying to dominate you. And use change right now as a path of self-healing, understanding, forgiveness, love and empowerment. Finally, the sun makes a set star to ascendant. This gives us more confidence, and we can be more outgoing and approachable. With this is good. This reduces the conflicts, right? But we can be too worried about what others think of us rather than what we think of ourselves. So the best use of this energy is to network or present ourselves in a new way. So supporting the newness of habit, routine, self-expression that the sun in Capricorn wants us to do. Also, at the time of the sun entering Capricorn this year, there's a T-square between Venus in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius and Jupiter in Taurus, and the midheaven in Leo as well. And this is within the 28% orb, so it's affecting us, slightly. So yeah, this T-square between the fixed signs of Aries, Taurus and Leo create a push and pull dynamic between, the sun's in Capricorn energy, which is Cardinal, as I said, very earthy, and it wants us to do things in a grounded, stable way and, create a routine and have structure. So this allows us and supports us to work on our career and status, and, this is really good. It wants us and supports us in going after what we want, but it warns us not to compromise our true values for success once again. Jupiter in Taurus in this T-square brings a desire for comfort and security. The midheaven in Leo wants us to be creative and get external validation, maybe too much, so we have to watch out for being over dramatic and attention seeking. The sun in Capricorn pushes us to achieve, but we need to make sure it doesn't lead to stress and burnout as well. We need to find that balance between the need for stability and the need for external validation. But it supports us in building more resilience, pushing through our challenges, and it's a great energy that can help us brainstorm and reevaluate our goals and find new ways to achieve them. So this is really good. It supports us in what the sun and Capricorn wants us to do, and it allows us, Venus in Aquarius helps us with our social connections and making connections that are beneficial for our career, and it supports us in being more confident as well. So the best use of this T-square is to reflect on our values and how they align with our career goals, and stay open to learning new things about yourself and life in general. Also, there's a grand air and water trine between the moon in Cancer, Mars in Cancer, which is in retrograde right now, the ascendant in Libra and Neptune in Pisces. So again, this supports us to balance our ambitions with our emotional needs and to find harmony in working with others as well, and sort of like not abusing our power as well, which is really good. And it supports us in looking after our emotional well-being, but negatively can add to us feeling emotionally overwhelmed and sensitive, adding to the stress and anxiety now, especially in our career if we're facing problems in them. So again, it reminds us to take breaks to avoid burnout, indecision and procrastination. This grand water trine can make it hard for us as we feel torn between meeting our emotional needs and the needs of our routine. So again, it just reminds us, cause our intention to not escaping because of Neptune's influence as well, reminding us to dream big, but make sure we take those practical daily steps to reach our dreams, and take decisive action, reduce procrastination by starting. Remember, at the time, in terms of writing, content, I used to write and edit at the same time, but now I will write and edit at a later date. We have to break down, our goals and the processes of our goals into smaller ones, rather than sometimes, we can procrastinate because we go, oh my gosh, the task is so big. But if we do things on a day-to-day basis, trust me, it's better than rushing to meet the deadlines, although rushing to meet deadlines we can't always avoid. So yeah, this T-square reminds us to be mindful of how our feelings and emotional expression impact our relationships, and communicate openly with ourselves and others to avoid misunderstandings, and focus on being open in our communication with ourselves and others, and remembering that balance is key, allowing ourselves to feel deeply but also take practical action towards our goals, and allowing ourselves to mix our emotional intelligence with our goals. So yeah, that's the end of the astrological analysis. So now I'm going to talk about the karma of the sun in Capricorn, and the collective meanings in terms of the karmic meaning, and the dreams and experiences that can come up. So in terms of karmic lessons, the lessons are around responsibility, discipline, and the structures of the material, the world we see outside, the institutions, the government, the banks, life, the work routines, social routines, and all of that. It encourages us to reflect on the foundations of our life, pushing us to ask whether they align with our highest values and purpose. It's a time to balance our ambition with integrity, and it pushes us to consider the past actions that we may have prioritised personal gain over ethical considerations, and it reminds us that true success is measured not just by achievements but by the legacy of respect and wisdom we leave behind. And as we sort of navigate the sun in Capricorn's energy, we can find that past life memories or dreams come to our minds that reveal to us experiences tied to power, leadership and authority. And we may dream of lifetimes where we have held significant roles in government, social structures, or in our households, stuff like that, uncovering unresolved issues related to control and ambition, and misuse of control and ambition and status, right? It wants us to rectify past imbalances without beating ourselves up, but just accepting mistakes are part of the human journey, as are, the times when we don't make mistakes, right? And it wants us to be more humility and serve yourself more and serve others more in the correct ways. On the collective level, it wants us to focus on political accountability. We can notice a growing awareness of the interconnectedness of personal and collective responsibility, sort of adding to discussions around reforming and restructuring that's been prominent over the last 5 to 10 years, if not longer. It's a time when collective consciousness sort of like wants to address imbalances in social structures, welfare, healthcare, stuff like that, which is a big topic in our life, education, and it wants us to have a deeper understanding of how our individual actions contribute to the greater whole, because a lot of the time we don't realise that, we are the angry people. Even if we're happy and stuff, what I'm trying to say, we think it's the government we need to blame, but what we need to focus on is building happiness into our personal interrelationships, business relationships, social groups, and, families, mother, child, primary caregiver, and, the one who's giving care to relationships and all of that. It wants us to think about where we can take more responsibility for our actions and words, asking ourselves where we are blatantly lying to ourselves, not staying true to ourselves so we can get social media likes or some other kind of professional gains, and that, asking us how we can or how we do positively contribute to our communities while also meeting the needs of our ambitions and our goals, like the time we neglect one area for the other. Karmically, it wants us to develop more patience and persistence, recognizing that the journey, as I said, is as important, if not more important, than the destination, and just being more ethical in our sense of responsibility, and build more integrity and emotional intelligence into our lives as well. So now I'm going to talk about how the Sun in Capricorn affects our relationships. So in terms of our family relationships, it can allow our emotional intelligence to meet practical wisdom, and we can heal problems in our relationships and build deeper connections between those who are willing to be open to listening to each other. And you may talk about generational dysfunction, habits that have been passed down from family member to family member, and instead of being toxic or blaming about it, thinking about how you and your family can grow from it, creating communication and other systems, habits into your family which work, like practicing actively listening and creating spaces for differences, becoming more focused on being compassionate and having empathy, transforming our family challenges into transformation, but negatively, us being emotionally closed right now and us wanting to stick to tradition and thinking my way is the right way and your way is the wrong way, playing hide and seek with our emotions as well, hiding from facing the truth as well, and not speaking about our tensions can make family relationships super complicated right now. So it just reminds us again to listen more than we speak. Boundaries are loving action and respecting them is, and that vulnerabilities are strengths, and that every family member within themselves creates sacred wisdom, and remembering that healing isn't always comfortable, perfection is an illusion, and having compassion is better than being right and just being like, we can't forget the past. Remember, your family story is still being written, and that there's no perfect people, but we can be imperfectly perfect by accepting each other for our flaws and helping us work through the things we want to transform, being more flexible in our communication, and by creating maybe or continuing family safe spaces where we can talk and each voice is heard, as we practice emotional empathy. So you can ask yourself, as a family unit, what generational patterns are you ready to transform? How can love be both structured and fluid? And are you truly seeing each family member for who they truly are? Are you hearing them? But are you hearing each other? Are you listening to each other? Are you just sort of like stuck in that loop, as many of us do, where we listen to respond rather than listen to feel and understand? So it's important to hear and respect each other's differences in family units. So now I'm going to talk about friendship relationships. So again, it's the same in our friendships. We can align with people who we can create meaningful scenarios with. Some friendships can go from casual to committed. We can sort of like create deeper relationships based on the same goals or purpose in life right now. We can want more authenticity in our friendships as well, and strategically support each other. So it's like a sort of like love, like the British are known to be reserved, right? So it's kind of like giving love in the British way. So we can be very loving, but in a strategic way. So this can be good for so helping you to solve your friends' problems and stuff like that as well. It wants us and supports us to create relationships that support our inner values, and balance, be professional and friendly with emotional depth, but negatively, because we can be competitive right now and our emotional walls can block true connection. We can be goal obsessed, and this can get in the way of friendship, and overthinking can lead to friendship breakdown. So again, it's just about remembering to be vulnerable, to celebrate each other, to be authentic, and to not give in to toxic productivity. So it reminds us to remember that those we call our tribe can reflect our inner world, so to look after our inner world, so we pick the right tribe. Also, it reminds us that true friendship isn't transactional. Growth happens at times in messy, unexpected ways, and that laughter can be a sacred healing tool, and diversity can create magic in our connections. So, it wants us to create spaces for real conversations and rituals that can kind of support each other's wildest dreams, and to be practical but radical in our friendship love. So we can ask ourselves how we can bring transformation, change into our friendships to make them better, right? And asking ourselves, are we collecting superficial friendships, connections, or cultivating the magic of real, authentic friendship, right? So yeah, it reminds us that, our social circle is a powerful manifestation tool, and that we should choose it wisely, and it wants us to redefine what friendship means to us, and to sort of have more fun in creating real connections. In terms of co-worker relationships, our careers can get a soul level upgrade. What we think about our goals, some of you may think about changing careers, upgrading your skills. Working with others can become a superpower right now, and really being strategic as well as open can sort of make working with others really, really beneficial, as you can reach goals and targets. Even the mundane tasks and projects right now can become meaningful missions, as people are more focused on turning workplace challenges into growth opportunities, and creating routines at work, or keeping to systems at work that honour both individual creativity and genius and collective vision. And it allows us to balance goals with our emotional intelligence as well, and transform our professional relationships into powerful networks. But negatively, because we can be competitive, ego can get in the way of teamwork and creative breakthroughs, and this can lead to burnout and stress, and comparison between I'm better than you, or why can't I be like this person, can get in the way of team harmony right now. We have to remember that each of the teammates' unique contribution matters, and being vulnerable in the right ways, because I know it's a bit different between being vulnerable in the intimate space than it is in the career space, but still it's a strength. And some burning questions that we may want to ask right now is, what impact am I truly creating in my profession, and what impact do I really want to create as well? So this is why some of you may decide to change career, right? And also asking yourself, how can your work become a form of service? A lot of the times, I know sometimes we're forcing careers to pay bills and stuff and all the rest of it, but we can make life fun, and a lot of the time we make life worse than what it needs to be, because the only thing that we can really control is our mind and reactions. We cannot control other people, even if we gain control for, or they give us control for a short while. It's always best to be master of yourself, and you may ask yourself, are we building careers or meaningful movements? Like, what is the point of this job, this industry even? And you can kind of just really getting down to the realities of status and wealth creation, and whether your wealth creation strategy is in alignment with where you really want to go in life. In terms of committed couples, again, it upgrades our romance. Our partnerships can transform into powerful co-creation engines, and our dreams can become said blueprints of possibilities as we focus on working together, to improve our households, to improve our relationships, and again building emotional intelligence, and seeing problems in our relationships right now as opportunities to grow, and we can just focus on creating routines that honour both each person's individual goals and the couple collective goals and dreams, and we balance reaching our goals with being more heart-centred in our intimacy, and, you know, transforming our relationships into more meaningful things that we want to be in. But on the negative end, the emotional shutdown and the need to isolate and goal obsession can suffocate. We can suffocate relationship growth and stability right now, and practical planning on every aspect, especially like date nights right now, can kill the romantic spark energy, you know, and competition between lovers can create sort of like distance as well. So again, you know, tap into the vulnerable space and you know, create intentional connection rituals, you know, date night spaces where, you know, you make time to talk about each other's needs, and even if that means going away sometimes to avoid arguments but coming back, you know, being open to each other's differences as well. So some questions you can ask yourself is, how can your love become a force of transformation? Are you building a relationship or shared mission? What magic happens when you truly see each other, when you hear each other, create space, you know, and you know, and just allow yourself to respect each other as individuals as well as, and just remembering that true relationship is about accepting an individual for who they are and not who you want them to be. Of course, we compromise and try and meet each other's love languages and stuff, but we don't try and eradicate a person's individuality to replace them for the personality we want them to be. You know, we should be, you know, hooking up and committed to those that really are in alignment with what we want and need, you know. So in terms of hookup relationships as well, you know, hookups can become so level experiences now. Boundaries can become super sexy. So just laying your cards on the table, people will respect and not be in their emotions about things as well. So it's a good, you know, energy to just have, you know, the actual definition of hookup and be more adventurous and intentional with your hookup connections rather than just mindless interactions. So we may be more practical about them, wanting to do them with people who align with our, I won't say values, but our needs. So, you know, just allowing yourself to use your hookup as not just something to satisfy your physical needs, but your emotional, spiritual needs. Not in the way that you want the other person to, you know, be emotional with you, but, you know, looking at them from the angle of, you know, how do they make you feel? Why do you partake in them? How can you make them more healthy? How can you seek hookup partners that meet your needs? Are you actually ready for a committed relationship? You know, it allows us to balance being spontaneous with being strategic in our self-awareness, and it can just, you know, turn physical encounters into transformative experiences, not because of what the other person says, but by you know, the depth or awareness it brings to your needs and desires. In terms of the negative meanings, emotional confusion can get in the way, so can overthinking, and this can block our chemistry, and our inflexible expectations can kill us being spontaneous, and our bodies, you know, can become a sacred temple of experience right now, where pleasure and personal growth can coexist together, and being authentic in our sexual expression can be really sexy right now, and every encounter right now can be a mirror of our inner world. And it just reminds us that relationship relating to each other is not about being perfect, that boundaries are an act of self-love, and that our worth shouldn't be defined by external validation. So looking at the reasons why you may, you know, some of you may partake, you know, in excessive hookup, asking yourself why. So when we are hooking up, when the sun's in Capricorn, make sure that, you know, you create the rules, create spaces for honest communication, use your intuitive wisdom and practice self-respect. And you can ask yourself things like, what am I truly seeking beyond physical relationships? How can I honour myself while exploring my desires? And asking yourself, are these encounters expanding, aiding, supporting your growth, or limiting your growth? So in terms of those who are single, And those who are self-partnered, for singles, this can increase your self-awareness and clarity about your relationship expectations, increase your confidence and personal standards, and your confidence in your personal boundaries. It can help you focus on your personal growth and development and attract more meaningful relationships through self-improvement and realistic, selection of your partners as well, and sticking to, your needs. And for that, you have to ask yourself what your needs are. Self-partnered, it's the same. It's a good energy to use for self-reflection, self-love, the strengthening of your personal goals, and you can give yourself an individual identity check. It can help you sort of like develop more emotional independence and create more structured self-care routines that are healthy, and you should use it to invest in your personal skills and talents. But in terms of challenges for self-partnered and singles, you can self-isolate yourself, and self-reflection can become too intense. You can be overly critical of yourself and any partners or potential partners as well. You can be emotionally defensive right now, and you can prioritize your career over your romantic relationships, and you may feel pressure to settle down and meet societal expectations as well, and overthinking can get in the way of your own sort of like relationship development right now. And emotional vulnerability, you can just be afraid of being vulnerable and lose yourself in work right now. So the key advice is to maintain emotional openness and self-love, balance professional goals with emotional needs, practice self-compassion, and stay open to unexpected relationships. And remember that this transit is not about quality but quantity in your relationship with yourself and any potential partners. So now I'm going to talk about how the Sun's transit in Capricorn affects our career, educational, spiritual and personal development in a bit more depth. So in terms of career, it increases our discipline and work ethic, great for strategic planning and opportunities for us to take lead, in directing our career and creating systematic routines to improve our career progression, and recognizing our achievements as well, breaking down the longer goals into shorter goals, investing in yourself, getting new skills, being more methodical, and seeking out those with experience that can guide you, on your professional journey. But negatively, watch out for becoming overly controlling and burnout and being perfectionistic, right? And the fear of failure can get in the way of creative risk taking, so watch out for that. And try and be adaptive to change, especially in the workplace right now, and in your mindset and your need as well. And really manage your energy right now, practice regular stress and anxiety management techniques, maintain and find the work-life balance, and remain open to unexpected opportunities. In terms of personal development, again, it's a great energy to build new routines, commit to your goals, develop long-term personal growth strategies, gain a deeper understanding of your personal limitations, build your emotional resilience and self-love, really look into your psychological and emotional needs, build your self-awareness and self-reflection, be open to change, watch out for being too self-critical and limited in your thinking, and trying to avoid your emotions right now as well, and focus on being balanced with your discipline and emotional intelligence, with your logic and intuition, with your work and self-love, and be compassionate to yourself and others. Look into developing holistic self-care strategies and techniques, meditation, journaling, supportive relationships, or getting to know yourself on a deeper level can really help you find and maintain emotional flexibility right now, and make sure you celebrate the small victories, right? And remember that personal transformation needs both disciplined effort and gentle self-acceptance, and gentle is the key word there. So in terms of educational development, it can help us stay motivated and improve our time management skills, take a more structured approach to our learning, and create new routines to increase our learning ability and research ability. We can just be more committed to our educational goals, and it gives us the ability to solve complex, hard problems right now and practically apply theory now into practice. It's great for increasing our critical thinking skills, which is well needed in our world right now. But negatively overthinking can lead to us not continuing a course of study, or too much sort of just like, oh, should I have done this course or shouldn't have done this course, but being too overly about it. Oh, I should stay and train to be a lawyer because that's what my family wants, but you may want to go into music or something like that, so kind of like a battle between your head and heart right now. We can have performance anxiety, we can have burnout from studying too much, researching too much, and having a resistance to new and creative learning techniques, right? And we may suppress the emotional aspects of learning, the fact that sometimes if we're having a bad day, we're depressed or whatever, or sometimes if we're not passionate about something, we won't remember the knowledge. So how can you make your learning techniques, research techniques more passionate so you have fun while doing it? We can just lose motivation as well to learn. So again, give yourself time, but don't procrastinate, and just ask yourself why you may not feel motivated. And then once you got that answer, and even if you don't get the answer straight away, but really question yourself on why you're not motivated, and then create more balance and try and rearrange your academic schedule or your personal learning schedule to make it more fun, and develop more flexible education goals, practice mindful learning techniques, and create a balance between your study schedules and your sort of emotional needs, looking after both the academic and emotional, having self-compassion for your learning, and find that work study life balance, and just be gentle with yourself as you allow yourself to become more structured and balanced, being disciplined, being creative and curious in your educational goals. So in terms of self-partner development, the Sun's transit in Capricorn is best used for self-awareness, building your personal integrity and emotional intelligence. But we just have to watch out for excessive self-criticism and being afraid of being vulnerable, and inner resistance, and self-judgment. So the best use of this transit for your self-partner development is to work on continuing or building gentle self-acceptance, being more authentic with yourself about your emotions, and think about your creative expression, and thinking about your inner self-talk, your inner conversation, and how you can transform it into more positive talk, that supports your goals. Okay, so now I'm just going to finish up by talking about the best things for us to do. So if you're more creative, this is a good energy to design structured, creative projects that have clear milestones, so writing down the deadlines for, the writing, the editing, the first edit, the second edit, stuff like that. Create a portfolio and professional development strategy. Professionals should update their professional profiles and network and set ambitious but achievable goals to help you with your career development. Entrepreneurs should develop or redefine their business strategy and financial planning right now, and review and optimize their business routines and your day-to-day operational efficiency, with the mindset of making working smarter, not harder. Alternative healers should develop a systematic approach to how they heal themselves and their clients, and just look at your client intake and treatment protocols, and sort of change them or create one if you don't have one. In terms of lovers, have serious relationship conversations about your long-term commitment, create a practical relationship growth and shared goal road. In terms of those who are single, it wants us to refine our personal dating standards and relationship expectations and invest in our personal growth and self-improvement. Self-partnered people should, practice disciplined self-care and emotional boundary setting and rethink your personal development strategy and make sure it's meeting your needs. And, ultimately, when the sun's transiting in Capricorn, it's a great energy to visualize our goals and practice structured meditation, doing activities that promote personal discipline and growth, documenting our personal insights and strategic life plans, typing them, voice recording them, vlogging them, blogging them, investing time in our skill development and practical learning, and managing our energy by balancing our goals with emotional self-compassion and care, and create realistic yet inspiring personal transformation strategies as well. And thinking about overall how can we use the energy of Capricorn, which is all about discipline, structure, for our personal evolution, in positive ways. So yeah, that's the end of this very in-depth analysis of what to do when the sun's transiting in Capricorn. Take care and see you next time.